What's the law on what you can and cannot say on a billboard? I assume you can't say nothing defamatory and you can't say fuck, piss, or cunt. That right?
Or anus?
I think I'll be all right then.
I guess you're Angela Hayes' mother.
That's right. I'm Angela Hayes' mother.
So, Mildred Hayes, why did you put up these billboards?
My daughter Angela was murdered 7 months ago. It seems to me the police department is too busy torturing black folks to solve actual crime.
The hell is this?
Dixon, I'm in the middle of my goddamn Easter dinner. Sorry, kids.
I know, Chief, but I think we got kind of a problem.
Sunshine beating on a good time.
I'd do anything to catch your daughter's killer. I don't think those billboards is very fair.
The time it took you to get out here whining like a bitch, Willoughby. Some other poor girl's probably out there being butchered right now.
We've had 2 official complaints about those billboards.
From who?
There's a lady with a funny eye
A lady with a funny fucking eye?
and a fat dentist.
There's a lot of good friends of Willoughby in this town, Miss Hayes. Ow! Ah! You didn't happen to drill a little hole in the dentist today, did you?
Of course not.
Huh?
I said, of course not.
I'm sorry about Angela, but the town is dead set against these billboards.
You know who threw that can?
What can?
How about you, sweetheart?
No, I didn't really...
Go, girl. Hey, fuckhead!
What?
Don't say what, Dixon, when she comes in calling you a fuckhead.
The more you keep a case in the public eye, the better your chances are getting it solved.
You know, if you hadn't stopped coming to church, you'd have a little bit more understanding of people's feelings.
All this anger, man. It just begets greater anger.
In 3, 2, 1. And as sad as the spectacle of these billboards might be, this reporter, for one, hopes this finally puts an end to the strange saga of the 3 billboards outside.
This doesn't put an end to
Missouri.
shit, you fucking retard. This is just a fucking start. Why don't you put that on your Good Morning Missouri fucking wake-up broadcast, bitch?
Guys, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I'm not lying when I say this is my favorite movie of the year. It is so enjoyable and funny and smart and about right now. And I know you started, your first draft was 8 years ago or something like that, right?
Yeah, first and only draft. I don't really bother with second ones.
Is that true?
Yeah, kind of. I'm very lazy, so I just kind of do it and then it's...
So when you picked it up 8 years later, or 7 years later, 6 years later, whenever you decided to turn it into a movie, how aware were you of what you had written at that time was so particular to a lot of what's being talked about right now?
Well,
or just do things not change? And
no, well, we knew all the stuff that had happened in Missouri had just sort of happened, like the year previously, because we shot this like a year and a half ago. But otherwise, none of the other details really changed or warranted me, revising the script. It was pretty. A lot of those issues, they were true then, they're true now, and they'll be true in another 8 years' time, sadly.
where did the idea initially come from in terms of the idea, or Frances McDormand's character? Wonderful, amazing character.
Yeah, well, it was like a combination of two things. I really wanted to write a strong female lead for a movie, because the last two movies I made, In Bruges and Seven Psychopaths, didn't really have very strong women, really. And so that was part of it. But I saw something similar to what we see on our billboards about 17 years ago when I was on a bus going through the States, and it stuck in, and it was kind of horrible and angry. And it was calling out the cops, similar to what Frances's character does in that. So I put those two ideas together, and it was almost like the character of Mildred wrote herself.
Caleb, you're the sort of guy that sells the billboard space to Frances
Kind
McDormand.
of the guy that sells the billboards. I'm a half a man, like Eric's half a bee.
How aware of Martin's work were you, and how excited were you to work with him?
I was,
You can be honest. You can be honest.
okay, are you fucking kidding me? No,
Not at all, or very aware?
no, I'd never heard of him before, to be honest.
I had the same feelings towards you. Even more so now.
In Bruges was the best film I'd ever seen in my life, and Seven Psychopaths was even better. And
We're friends again now.
of course, I thought in a million years kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, it's a wonderful performance. It's very funny. Abbie, you were in Seven Psychopaths, right?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be in that one too.
Right. Did you feel, I mean, he said that he hadn't really written a strong female character before. I thought that with this film, I know Frances is the star, but even with your character, who is the wife of Woody Harrelson, you are also a very strong character, and you get a great arc in the film as well. Did that feel kind of like paying you back for Seven Psychopaths?
Definitely. You still owe me another one, I reckon.
Okay, deal.
No, but there was something really amazing for me being in a film with so many incredible actors, and for me particularly to watch Frances and her process. She had a very particular process on this film, and it was amazing to watch. You know, everything from the clothes. I mean, you know, she wears pretty much the same thing the entire time, right? Yeah. And
Michael Myers jumpsuit, essentially.
yeah, I mean, and it's amazing. It speaks so much to that character and where that character is at, and just the small changes and details. But I love seeing her face in this film and being able to see every single part of her. You know, if her eyes are red, her eyes are red. If you know what I mean, and there's so much humanity to her, so much beauty in her in this film. I love it.
Clark, your character essentially, and can we talk exactly about what your character does, or is that a spoiler?
Is that
a
spoiler?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that a spoiler?
It's a spoiler.
Hey,
No,
You're promoting the
I'll
movie.
tell you what. Here's a spoiler. They call me Mr. Tibbs. That's as much as I can say about that. Right?
Clark, you've done a lot of theater. Were you aware of Martin's work before as well in the theater? Were you excited to get the chance to take part in this movie?
I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to through the script, but also because I'd known aware of Martin's work as well. But very rarely do you get a chance to work with the person whose mind it is on the page, as well as it being in their minds to come on through. You know, so I don't know what else to say after that.
Well, I mean, outside of just knowing about Martin's work prior to this, talk to me about when you guys first got the script, because, I mean, that's an obvious question that we ask all the time, but as a viewer watching this movie, scene by scene, you're just going, I can't believe this movie went there, and it owned it, and it did it well, and that's on a comedy level, and then on a level of just sort of the nasty things that some people say to each other. It's always shocking and funny and revelatory. So what was it like when you guys first got the script?
I feel like it's once in a blue moon. As an actor, you read a script that is so complete and so beautifully written that it feels like a work of art. And it is.
She's really trying to get her next job here.
Hey.
She is.
Was it
trying
a work of art? Was it?
Someone's got to do it.
And he's
Someone's
all
gotta
ears.
do
Go
it.
ahead. No.
Martin's like, keep talking. Yeah, and it's very rare. And so when you, as an actor, when you read a script like this, it's a no-brainer. You want to be a part of this thing so bad. And usually, these scripts they don't change from the page to the stage because they are so perfectly written.
My experience was a bit different.
Tell us, Mr. Tibbs.
Well, simply because I found that while analyzing the script, it read one way for me, which was entertaining, but in its execution, what you don't see when on the page is what another actor is going to bring to it, and the nuances of their life that they bring to it. And I think that by putting together this particular company, everyone has a moment that is tweaks their humanity that they are able to express through this. And you don't see that. What you see is a really wonderful story. You hear some really witty dialogue, you know, but you're only hearing that in your mind, in your dimensions, you know. But when it's in Frances's mouth, or in the pathos that's in Abbie's mouth, you know, or the comedy that's in his mouth, then it becomes something different. You know, it's still an entertaining piece on the page, but it becomes phenomenal when it's when it's executed by good actors, for sure.
And Martin, you only wrote one draft of this movie. Because I just don't believe you, because every line...
I don't believe him either.
Every line is really unbelievable. It feels like someone sort of combing over to make sure that you have the absolute best line that could come from this character in this moment.
Well, I write it by hand, and then I type it up. So technically, that's a second draft.
Do you type it on an old school typewriter? I just imagine you being like tick, 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 tick.
We with one finger.
Yeah.
No, it's a little bit better than that, Abbie.
Is it?
Do you have an assistant that
an
you just
actual
throw
laptop?
papers at? Type it up.
No, I've got one of those computer things now
Oh, you have
that people have.
the traveling ones or the ones that go on the desk?
It travels.
It
if
travels.
I can stick
Oh
it in
my
my
gosh.
suitcase.
Okay.
But
What's
yeah,
the draft written in? What do you write your draft in? Like an old school moleskin or something?
No, like one of those really cheap kind of spiral.
Oh, the ones with the lines and the spiral. Do you
Yeah,
rip
so you
pages
can rip
out?
Oh, paper.
right.
Paper, you mean? Yeah. Oh, gosh. Guys have lost me there for a second.
Pencils. I used to have like 10 pencils and I'd sharpen them all. But then now I've been traveling since I come into money. I have one of those things where you do the
Oh, you have
the
one of
top,
those.
and
Oh,
it's got
like
the
a what do they
eraser
call
at
it?
the-
Yeah.
So that's why it's
The lead
easy to
pencil
write it in
thingies.
one.
What led you to 8 years ago wanting to tell a story that is quintessentially American and about Americans? I think previous to that, your films were in a lot of ways about American movie characters rather than American characters.
It was that. I mean, Francis's character Mildred just felt completely American, like hopefully iconically American, just strong, like as strong as the landscape that she's existing in. And but geographically, I wanted it to have some kind of cinematic sweep that you wouldn't really get if it was set back in Europe, I don't think. But I'm a big lover of like American movies of the 70s, so I kind of wanted to tap into that spirit a little bit. But also, you know, the some of the political angles. You know, we have some of that stuff back home, but it seems quite polarized here at the moment and has been for a while. So I kind of wanted to have that be a bit of a backdrop to this story too.
One of the things that I love about the film as well is that all of the angles are there, but none of them are overt. The film isn't preachy in any way. It's a lot of jokes about those political angles or emotions or drama surrounding it, but never is it sort of pushing anything one way. How do you find that balance when you're writing it?
Basically, you kind of have to love all your characters. You have to see all of their faults truthfully, but all of their hopes truthfully too. So to a large degree, Frances is the hero of the piece, but a lot of what she does in the film is not really defensible, especially as the film goes on.
It also causes a lot of the destruction in many ways.
Yeah. From a place of sort of righteousness and rage, but it's still destructive, as you said. Conversely, you know, Woody Harrelson's one of the characters who's against her. He's kind of, to a degree, the heart of the film, because there's a lot of decency about him. But he's still employing an underling who's pretty much a jerk and a racist and a brute, and that's Sam Rockwell's character. But even his character, you have to kind of try and see what's underneath that or what's made him that way. And that was the kind of the joy, in a way, of the film is in the first 10 or 20 minutes, you kind of know you think you know whose side you're on, but as it goes on, it kind of questions whether whether or not you should even be picking a side.
Did you have the majority of this cast in mind when you first wrote the script? I mean, specifically Frances?
This was written for Frances, and if she said no, I'd have been fucked, because I don't know where we'd have gone next, to be honest. And Sam too. You know, I wrote this one and the last one for Sam. And Woody's someone I've known for like 10 or 12 years, because he's a big theater guy too. So we had a history even before we made Seven Psychos together. And with Woody, you know, there's a humanity in him that you kind of needed to access instantly in this character. You know, he needed to be someone who, as soon as you see him, and you think you're on Frances's side, his heart and soul should be something that kind of convinces you otherwise, to a degree.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson's got so much sort of natural heart that he's the guy that makes you like, you know, his natural-born killer character, even though he's like the worst person in the world.
Yeah.
You get the shit kicked out of you by Sam Rockwell in the film. It's a really funny.
Possibly.
No
Spoilers.
it's in the trailer. It's in the trailer.
That's okay. Go with that one.
What was it like shooting that scene with Sam?
It was. I remember. See, spoilers, gee, many. I just remember at some point, I'm somewhere where you don't think I am, and then at one point, I'm exactly where you think I am. But
I'm confused, and I directed the movie. What?
But at the end
I'm
of
with you.
I'm not. At the end of
Just trying to keep things going.
I appreciate it. But at the end of every time we did that, because we did what 5-6 times.
Oh, the take, yeah.
The take, yeah. Everybody'd be huddled by the monitor. Everyone huddling to see if we've pulled it off.
Because it was a 2-minute sequence, unbroken, kind of one camera move.
I remember exactly what you're talking about now. Yeah.
So you can see everybody is, everyone's looking at their own stuff, going, okay, check, 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 check. Okay, we did that, check, check. But as a whole, we're going, okay, it's going. And then, yes, all right, we did it. Okay, that's pretty good, but let's go again. Da, da, da. Okay. I come back again, same thing again, and this.
Well, you had a lot of stuff that could go wrong just in your...
Yeah, but everything could go wrong, and everything was so well
planned.
That
was beautifully choreographed.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot, like, there's a car that has to break just on time. There's a walk that has to times. There's a... Yeah. We do kind of see it in the trailer, though. Okay. And breaking glass, and steady cam upstairs, and then, like...
Stunts in there. And
violent things, yeah.
Switch out.
Blood, switch out, stunts, back downstairs, punch, back in, and reveal.
It sounds like so much fun.
And again.
I was like,
how long did it take you guys to sort of choreograph and shoot that? Just one day, or did it take a couple days?
The planning of it took like weeks and weeks and weeks, because it involved every single department, from like hair and makeup to costume changes to stunts was a big one. Even cars and. But the shooting, we gave a day to it, and because everyone had done it so brilliantly, we were finished by lunchtime.
Yeah. But it was this kind of thing of everyone, because it was, I don't know, it was the emotions of everybody, everyone really was excited. Everyone really wanted to see this work. Everyone was all, and it's squeezing by that little monitor to see, and I don't know, this doesn't happen all the time,
Yeah, that's the beauty of filmmaking, right? When you have those moments where everyone in the whole cast and crew is so dedicated to one moment, one scene, one...
Hopefully all of them,
Yeah, but it's, but that's a great film. This whole movie was like that. Every single day there was a feeling of creating something with so much passion.
It was, like the whole crew was...
Incredible crew.
And jazz, and
everyone
that came from the script, and how many chances just on the page the script takes. Everybody sort of knowing that if we can all kind of accomplish this script and do it justice, we'll have done something really well here.
That was
possibly. He can.
I don't know. I mean, it was just like a lovely group of people, and we're all together in this lovely town, Asheville, in North Carolina, and so it had a feeling of away at camp too.
And you worked with a lot of that crew before as well.
Yeah. So a lot of crew from Seven Psychos, and the same DP, Ben Davis, was on that last one too. Same first AD, Peter Cohen, and a lot of the camera crew and a lot of the other people behind the scenes were people we'd worked before, and like 4 or 5 or 6 of the actors were from Seven Psychos too. So it did have a feeling of family, but there was just a lot of fun, even though like the story is kind of dark in a lot of places. That wasn't the way the set was. It was kind of fun every day.
Yeah, it was always fun.
The story is dark in a lot of places, and when I said there are chances the script takes, it's not just in sort of where the plot goes, but in tone. Specifically, there's a flashback with Frances McDormand and a thing she says to her daughter. I won't give that away, but it's the darkest possible thing that could really happen in terms of what people are saying in this movie. How confident were you in that line going all the way through it? Did you ever second guess that line?
I don't think so. But you know that, like in the edit, if something goes too far, you could trim it or tone a take down. Or rearrange it a little bit. But no, I guess like at this stage, I'm pretty old now, and I've kind of got a confidence in those tones. Most of my stuff is kind of dark and comedic at the same time, so I've kind of grown used to and fond of that tone over the years.
Does it feel like a balancing act when you're editing the film in terms of tone, or does it feel fairly natural?
Pretty natural, yeah. This is probably the most natural one in feeling that I've had, yeah.
This one itself is?
Yeah, because this one has changes of tone, not just scene to scene, but line to line in a scene. There's a big scene in the middle with Frances and Woody and Sam, but particularly Frances and Woody, and a thing happens, spoiler alert, that changes it from like an almost knockabout comedy to the saddest, moment of the film in seconds, and their characters almost change in that moment too.
The thing that they both do with their performance in that moment is beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. And people are going to be so confused out there, but
just go see the movie, then come back and watch this.
Yeah,
this lives on the internet.
But mostly it's about, and it's always the same for me, hiring the best actors, because they'll take care of the truth of the scene, and I kind of will take care of the tone afterwards. But if the truth of the scene is there, you don't worry about the comedy, and you don't worry about the sadness. It's because the truth will take you through.
Clark, you have these wonderful scenes with Sam as well, where you you don't like your character doesn't like his character, almost despises him, but you almost feel for him because you've known this person before, you've seen him. What was it like doing those scenes with him and playing someone that you're supposed to despise? The duality that your character has with him.
Well, it was more about reacting, because Sam brought it. The first time we meet each other, it's one thing. The second time, he is in such an emotional place that in order to be true to it, I've got to give him time. And there was one take that he took a long time just to settle himself. So Clark, as the actor, is thinking, when the fuck is he going to say his line? That's what's going on in my head, But then I'm looking at him, right? And I get drawn into his world. So I can't help but to react to him honestly. It ceases to be acting as much as just being in that space with a person in that condition. You have a choice, and in order for my journey to work, I had to stay in that empathetic and humanitarian space, for sure. But it really is, it's him. It's him. I'm just reacting to him.
No, I think it's you too, Clark, to be honest. I think he's reacting to you and you're reacting to him.
Well, he feels like, at that point in time, he almost feels like my son.
Yeah.
He's had a rough, I can't talk too much. I really, this is difficult. This is difficult.
He's trying. He's
yeah,
trying.
And he is trying. Yeah. Yes, in many ways, he's trying. He's trying from the very beginning, and he's trying again at the end, but in a different sense.
It's hard to say. This movie goes in so many different directions at so many times, and it's wonderful, and it would just ruin the experience for anybody who hasn't seen it to tell you these things that happen. I don't say that about most movies. Like, most movies, I don't really care about spoilers, and you can kind of enjoy the movie nonetheless. And you would enjoy this movie, but this movie, like, it's just one of the most exciting things is just not knowing what's going to happen.
Like, what's his name? Brunel? What's that
Louis
guy's name?
Buñuel?
Yeah, like that guy, all of a sudden, halfway through, and But if you knew that before.
It's an emotional roller coaster. It's an emotional roller coaster, and it's a moral roller coaster that if you're watching it, and I've seen it three and a half times, and I can see it again because there's another nuance that I didn't see the last time, or I was laughing because of something and I missed something else, or that you're so stuck in this dirge and this sorrow that you forget that was a laugh line that just went. So it's a powerful film. It's a powerful statement, and you will be like this throughout. You'll be laughing your ass off, and then you'll be, what am I laughing at?
When I said Buñuel and like this, I don't mean like M. Night Shyamalan. There's one, thing all of a sudden, and we're waiting forever for that one thing to happen, and was it worth it? Anyway, not like that.
Martin, before I move
I'm with you. He's a ghost, right?
Sam Rockwell is a ghost at the end of the movie. We gave it up. And they were living in a made-up town. One of the great people that you cast in the film that we haven't talked about yet is a woman from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia who plays
Sandy Martin, yeah.
Sandy Martin, the great Sandy Martin for fans of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Were you a fan of the show? Had you seen her there?
I still haven't seen it, but Sandy's a fantastic actress, and we worked.
Mac's mom, guys. It's the best thing ever.
And she plays Sam's mom in this, but she's just like one of the greatest actresses I've ever met, and fun to be around. We were hanging out last night with her. But she had a small part in Seven Psychos, which didn't make it into the finished film. But I thought, I gotta work with you again. So as soon as I kind of reread that first draft that we talked about, Sam's mom was there, and it's like a no-brainer. She didn't even have to come and meet.
You know, she is playing a character very similar to the mother that she plays in It's Always Sunny.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I'm curious.
That's why she's so good, I guess, because she does it every week.
She's not like that in.
No, she's adorable. She's like fantastic. Yeah.
Let's get some questions from the audience. Who has a question? Right here.
Hey, Abbie.
Hey, how's it going?
What do you feel is the difference as an actress to performing for, you know, an Australian audience as compared to an American audience, especially when you think back to Somersault? Do you think that kind of experience translates universally, or is it reserved to certain locales and such?
Well, for me, I grew up on 170 acres in rural Australia, so I never really watched television. I hardly went to the cinemas. When I did start watching television, I was watching, in Australia we had 5 channels at the time. One was SBS, one was ABC, SBS was international, and ABC showed a lot of independent films, like uninterrupted, no commercials. So my love of film began watching European films, began watching independent films, art house films, short films. And that really shaped me as an artist. And so I can only speak personally. For me, there are no, oceans when it comes to filmmaking. We can talk about the oceans and describe them, but essentially we're crossing them. And so I don't know if that answers your question in a way, because it's a very personal experience. I think obviously Australia is a very different place to America. There's more of a commentary happening here and more to comment on. But essentially, these are international issues, that, particularly in this film.
I think we have time for one more question. Who is the next question? You, as you walk up. Hello.
Hey, guys. So I was wondering, when it comes to films, like, do you think casting is the most important, or is it performance?
Casting is pretty, yeah. If you get the right people, you kind of know that they're gonna bring it, And I don't know what you would do with an actor who wasn't,
You would never cast him. You'd never cast him.
Yeah.
That whole process is
it's massive. It's massive.
What is your casting process like usually? Like what makes up you casting someone? Is it the way that they perform, or is it how much that you can collaborate with them?
I find it hard to work with someone who is kind of like what you'd call a movie star, who wasn't a proper actor. But my first port of call is to go through all my friends and then see if they're available. And if they are, then I don't have to go to a second port of call.
This movie is made up of all your friends.
Yeah.
Congratulations, that's great. Guys, the film comes out this weekend, I believe, right? Is it this weekend?
Yeah, this Friday.
Is it New York and LA, or is it state all over the country?
New York and LA this week, and then it opens wider, I think, the next week. And
Texas Friday.
Texas Friday week. Oh, nice.
Guys, it's the best movie this year. Go see it. You're going to love it. Go see it again. Give them a round of applause. Thanks so much.
Thank you all so much.